Is your mind blown?
Greetings, subjects. This is your Overlord, and this is Black Ops 2 First Impressions Part 2, Zombies. Part 1 covered multiplayer. First thing I noticed in the zombies is the classic mode that I was promised through Twitter, I believe, or so. I don't remember exactly. It was months ago. But it's mysteriously missing. For the record, when I hear classic zombies, I'm actually expecting something along the lines of, the Black Ops 1 zombies, which is what the later maps of World at War ended up becoming. I want a map that takes like 10 rounds to be able to fully explore it properly, and has all sorts of weapons scattered on all the walls, and there's a pack-a-punch, and there's a bunch of perks, and I like that experience with all that stuff, and I think it'd be cool. And I like being able to get to wave 30 just by kind of screwing around with 3 other people that I have fun playing with. But that's not in this game, as far as I can tell. The 3 modes that I did find were Survival, Transit, and Grief. Survival mode is you start in a room, you get about 1 door, maybe 2, from that starting room that go to a second small area. If you need to escape or whatever, there's hardly any weapons on the walls except for the starter weapons. And you get a random box. There's no perks, there's no pack-a-punch. There's nothing. It's just you killing zombies in a small room. It has, in all honesty, a very familiar Nocturne Totem feel, which was my favorite map in World at War. Which, by the way, that map appears in the game as an Easter egg. But, so you could argue that this is what they were talking about when they said classic zombies. Because you don't get more classic than the original. But it's not what I wanted. It's not what most of my friends wanted. And if I remember correctly, I was promised Survival and classic zombies. So, right now, it's looking like that's just a little fun thing to do when you're bored. Transit mode is basically the new story mode, and it seems like it's taking the place of classic zombies. It's a ginormous map. I mean, it's really 5 maps in one. The entire mode basically revolves around that 4 or 5 maps meshed together in one big map, and some bus that takes you between them, driven by some Nazi robot zombie thing. I have no idea what it is, and it's kind of creepy. There's some fun gimmicks in transit mode. You get to build things to help you battle the zombie horde, and there's an electric generator that you can build that lets you buy perks without activating the power, which is good because I've played it twice now and I still can't find the power. It's possible, I guess, that it's not there at all, but you never know. But it is it's the continuation of the story. It's got the new zombie characters and whatnot. But it's still not what I'm wanting, because you're forced to rely on the bus. If you let that bus leave you behind, you get really easily overrun because the sections of the map are really tiny and cramped. I don't know. I enjoy the gimmicks. Even if I haven't figured out all the contraptions yet, but I'm hoping that maybe there's more to it than I am aware of, or I don't know. But I'm kind of disappointed so far. And then last but definitely not least, is Grief, which is currently my favorite of the 3 modes. It's 4v4 versus mode. And it is basically the closest thing to what I was expecting classic zombies to be. You know, except that there's 8 people instead of 4. You still get all your perks and your weapons on the walls and a pack-a-punch, though the pack-a-punch is basically in a spot that's going to kill you. You put your gun in there and then you run away so that you don't die, and then your gun comes out and you're still on fire. So you can't even go get your gun back without a whole lot of planning and teamwork. But the 2 bonus improvements to what we've expect from zombies is that there are now 8 people. As far as I can tell, this is the only mode where you can have 8 people, which is bull because I was promised 8-man co-op, and this is 8-man versus. But you're basically told, and this is the good part, you're basically not just given permission, but you're required to troll your friends. Like, you know, you're gonna try and put people in dangerous situations and get zombies to go after them. There's actually a new power-up that's like a hunk of meat you can throw on people to make the zombies chase them. If you go down, like, the enemy team can't revive you, not that they would, but they can knife your teammate who's trying to revive you, and when he does, it doesn't do any damage to him, but it, like, punts him a couple inches so that it can disrupt his ability to revive you, and he has to start all over again. And I did actually at one point use that tactic to great effect by almost going down just to make sure that all of the enemies went down trying to revive their friends. You know, and I mean, it's a simple goal. You're just surviving longer than the other team. And the fact that once one enemy team basically dies off, if you can finish the round, you win. So you're never going to have to survive to round 30 if you just want to go get something real fast. I currently have you know, like I've played it a couple times, and I think we played it 3 times total, Grief, and I never made it past round 8 because that was how long the other team kept surviving. But now I guess we should really get on to the elephant in the room, so to speak. So I'm not going to count the Nuketown map, which not everyone gets, because that was like a special for pre-ordering it within a certain deadline. I think I have a code for that somewhere, but I'm not counting it because not everyone has it. But there are seemingly 3 maps available at the start, which is 1 more than Black Ops started with, and 2 more than World at War started with. Unfortunately, that's not really how it is. All 3 apparent maps are actually just parts of the larger transit map. You know, which isn't a huge deal, I guess, because you still kind of have 3 maps to play around on, except that transit actually takes you through all of them, so that if you play transit a lot and then you decide you want to play like Grief or Survival or whatever, you're just going to feel like you only have 1 map. But I guess the worst part about the 3 maps is that they don't all offer every game type. You know, there aren't 3 maps I can play transit on. There aren't 3 maps I can play survival on. There aren't 3 maps I can play Grief on. Right now, Town, I believe it's called, is the 2nd map, is the only map you can play Grief on. It's the only map that gives you the option to pick Grief anyway. And it's irritating to see, because Grief is my favorite game mode, and I really don't... I'm going to get sick of this map really fast. And then survival mode, if you play survival mode on the map Town, it's actually a smaller play area than the Grief version of the map. So it's actually like half a map when you play survival mode. And I don't even know if it's available on all 3 or not. It might be. It might be the only one that is. But the transit doesn't allow you to start on any of the 3 maps. it allows you to explore all three of them at some point, but you have to start in the same spot every time you play, which is fine, you know, if that's how they want to do it, because it's story, you start in the same spot on the map every time. But it basically means that there's a lot of, you know, repetitiveness. And so you really only have one map when you start the game, which again is not any worse than World at War. And there's more game modes and stuff. It's still a better initial zombies experience than World at War, but it's worse than Black Ops' initial zombie experience, which is a huge problem considering they were supposed to have given us an entire team, you know, an entire team of the Treyarch staff was supposed to be fixing this map so that it would, or this game, so that it would basically, they were making a multiplayer game and a zombies game, and it was two teams basically working on it. Like, you had that much dedicated attention, and all you did was come up with a couple game modes, and you didn't even find a way to make the game modes playable on every map. I mean, it's very half-assed feeling for an initial experience. And you know they're gonna make me spend $10-15 on 4 or 5 multiplayer maps that I don't even want just to be able to play the next zombies map. So I mean, they're really, it was a really disappointed overall thing for me. And I mean, at the very least, just patch it or something, hotfix. Let me play all 3 game modes on all 3 map things that you give us. You know, let me play. I don't know. I can't do it. I mean, it's not like when you pop on multiplayer and play Capture the Flag that you're limited to a single map. You can play Capture the Flag on every map in the game. So why can't I play Grief on every map in the game? I get that if we were playing public matches, maybe they'd want to make us only play Grief on one thing, but at least in custom games, I want to play Grief on every map. That's because it's fun. You know, it's just overall, I just kind of I bought this game just for zombies. I didn't even expect the multiplayer to be playable after the last game that Treyarch put out. You know, because I've said many times before that Black Ops was the worst multiplayer in any Call of Duty game from a mechanical standpoint. And, you know, they did a lot to fix it as time went on, and they've got a lot of fan support. But where's the fan support for the zombies? They, like, gave up on zombies after talking about how awesome it was going to be. You know, I feel very cheated. You know, I feel like Treyarch spent so much time trying to fix the multiplayer, which, again, I understand. That makes them a lot of money, and if you screw up the multiplayer enough times, people are just going to stop buying Call of Duty games. But you kind of screwed me over on the zombies, guys. And, you know, I think I'm sad. I think I'm going to have to go buy Black Ops 1 again for zombies. And that's terrible, because they're not going to make any money off that. Sorry about that, Treyarch. But, you know, I feel like you deserve it now.
Back to life! Get out my knife! Thank you for choosing Consolidated Code Corporation Bus Lines.
grave!
Please stand clear of the opening door.
Insta-kill! Corpse kisser! You only saved my ass, cause without me, you know it.